Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To my lecturer, Dr. Nur Adila, my name is Nur Adila Binti Alias. My metric number is S61588. Today, I'm going to present my individual assignment, ACT3013 Accounting Principle. Account consists three activities such as identification, recording, and communication. Firstly, we need to define the component which is assets equal liabilities plus owner equity. We must identify the type of account. For Shannon Capital is owner equity, cash is asset, account receivable is asset, equipment is asset, building is asset, channel withdrawal is owner equity. For service revenue is owner equity. Prepaid rent is asset. Advertising expense is owner equity. Unearned service is liability. Interest payable is liability. Account payable also liability. Prepaid insurance is asset. Utilities expense is owner equity. Depreciation expense for equipment is owner equity. And depreciation expense for building is owner equity. Next is normal balance for Shannon Capital is credit. For cash is debit. Account receivable also debit. Equipment is debit. Building is debit. Channel withdrawal is debit. Service revenue is debit. Prepaid rent is debit. Unearned service revenue is credit. Advertising expense is debit. Unearned service revenue is credit. Interest payable is credit. Account payables is credit. Prepaid insurance is debit. Utilities expenses is debit. Depreciation expenses for equipment is debit. And depreciation expense for building also debit. For the type of financial statement, Shannon Capital is statement of owner's equity. Cash is balance sheet. Account receivable is balance sheet. Equipment is balance sheet. Building is balance sheet. Channel withdrawal is balance sheet. Service revenue is income statement. Prepaid rent is income statement. Advertising expenses is income statement. Unearned service revenue is balance sheet. Interest payables is balance sheet. Accounts payable is balance sheet. Prepaid insurance is balance sheet. Utilities expenses is income statement. For depreciation expenses for equipment is income statement. And the last one is depreciation expenses for building is income statement. Lastly, we move to the requirement 2. We need to add all the assets. For total assets, the total asset is 266,700. Total liabilities for the total liabilities, add unearned service revenue, interest payable, and also accounts payable. So for the total is 22,700. For the total owner's equity, we must add owner equity, which is Shannon capital, add Shannon withdrawal, add service revenue, add advertising expense, add utilities expense, add depreciation expense for equipment, and the last one is depreciation expense for building. So the total for owner's equity is 136,500. So we move to the task 2. Based on the Samira repair shop, we need to prepare income statement, statement of owner equity, and also the balance sheet. First, we need to prepare the income statement. In the income statement, we need to know revenue and expenses. So for revenue, this one is service revenue. The amount of service revenue is 125,000. Next is expenses. The expenses we need to put supplies expenses, rent expenses, utility expenses, gas expenses, and also wages expenses. The amount of supplies expenses is 3,425 for amount rent expenses is 18,000. For utility expenses is 6,000. For gas expenses is 7,200. And the last one is wages expenses is 22,000. The total of expenses is 56,685. Next, for the net income, the total is 68,375. Next, we go to the statement of owner's equity. We need to write owner's capital, Samira capital, and the amount is 39,535, and the net income is 68,375. So the total of Samira capital and net income is 107,900, and then Samira withdrawals is 36,000, and the owner's capital is 71,900. So we move to the balance sheet. First of all, we need to write down the asset, cash, accounts receivable, supplies, repair shop, equipment, service truck. So the amount of cash is 5,500. For the account receivable is 1,500. For the supplies is 500. Repair shop equipment is 27,000. Service truck is 23,000. So the total of asset is 74,500. We move to liabilities. Liabilities and orders. Equity. Accounts payable, owners capital. For the amount of account payable is 2,600. For the amount of owners capital is 71,900. So the total of liabilities and owners equity is 74,500.
That's all from me. Thank you.